It might not have been a tale of two cities, but it was definitely two different methods of communication out of Bob Iger versus Nelson Peltz in the prior week. We'll tell you why both men opted for two different strategies in their fight for the Disney board right now. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel. As always, a joy to speak with you, and we mean it. We are here to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. Today we are looking back retrospectively at Bob Iger and Nelson Peltz and how they handled their two respective conferences, or shall we say town halls. Bob Iger opting for a very friendly conversation with a third party, Nelson Peltz and Jay Rasulo opting for a callback to Disney's 90s magic, that sort of familiar and welcoming setting that they did. Bob Iger, of course, presenting Disney as being on the right track, Jay Rasulo and Nelson Peltz saying, not so much. Things are not going well for Disney, even to the point that they said that they don't like to talk about what's going on with the company because it makes them feel badly. Today, let's dive into what exactly went down with an emphasis on Bob Iger. Folks, this is the kind of analysis you cannot find anywhere else.
Here is page 75 of the document here. Studio fix. On the film studio, what are you doing in particular to fix the film slate going forward? This from Moffat Nathanson. And they said, we're looking to, and we're working to consolidate, meaning make less, focus more on quality. We're all rolling up our sleeves, including myself, to do just that. It's great to know that Bob Iger is rolling up his sleeves there. I'm sure the showers will help in rubbing the stink off. ESPN financial plan. What is success for Disney shareholders in sports? How do we think about that kind of financially and strategically? Permit me to throw a couple of cliches your way.
Stop you, Bob.
ESPN has always aimed to serve the sportsman effectively. And so all the steps that we've been taking and that we announced today and that we will continue to take are aimed at doing just that. Streaming timetable. Any help on a timetable that gets us there? And they say, not going to put a specific time frame on that right now. That was Hugh Johnston, not Bob Iger. And then, can you give us some color on timing and location for the 70% of the $60 billion in capex? And they said, we're basically we're already working hard at basically determining where we're going to place our new investments and what they will be. You can pretty much conclude that they'll be all over. I'm not going to really give you much more sense of timing. So, yeah, nothing at all.
And could I ask a real sort of basic dumb question of everybody out there? If you were planning on doing some major renovations to your house, your swimming pool, your mother-in-law's whatever, wouldn't you figure out what you were going to do and where first and then come up with how much it's going to cost? Or would you say, I'm going to spend $60 billion over the next 10 years and I don't know where and why and how? And honest, I really don't, but I'll keep you posted. It's
yeah, you would have a game
before
plan.
the horse time, you know?
Right. You would have a game plan if you were trying to do something major to anything in your own personal life. Why doesn't Bob Iger seem to have a game plan when it comes to Disney?
And the codicil to that's in the Trian report that's so wonderful. It says, swell, you made $7.5 billion or whatever it was in cuts. The question is, why did you need to cut that much? Why weren't you operating efficiently in the first place?
Right, and why were those cuts not to anything that maintains at the company? They cut temporary things and impermanent things. They didn't make any change to the overall structure of the company. There's a great slide in there about how corporate is causing too much bloat, and too much corporate overhead is causing a lack of accountability to the rest of the company. That would be, by the way, a strategy comment that Nelson Peltz made to Bob Iger probably pretty early on. And they're saying, we don't know what Peltz wants. I think they're just not hearing it because they're very confused by the idea that this corporate interference is a bad thing.
Well, they didn't take any meetings with Peltz, right? They didn't.
Right.
So how do they know what Peltz wants? They have no idea. This thing is coming out of the absolute, well, not out of the blue, because Peltz has been talking about this. He's obviously been putting this together for a long period of time, 133 pages. I mean, if I'm a shareholder of Disney, I'm pretty upset right now. You mean to tell me that this guy has been waiting in the wings to deliver information like this for well over a year, and this is the first time we're hearing about this? You know, This is the first time out of all of these. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I was checking this out, these meaningful interactions, and it turns out just to be a couple of quick calls and some emails. Like, this guy is, Nelson Peltz is he's the CEO of a very large, investment firm. He has a lot of experience in, dealing with companies. let's hear what he has to say. We don't have to do it, but let's at least hear him out. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous.
And along those lines, look at that very first one and consider this. Among the things they present in this report is that every one of the companies they have come into and helped, not torn apart, not sold off to pieces, but helped, every one of them was against them at the beginning, and every one of them now says, we wish we hadn't been against because they've been great. Indeed, one of them, I forget which one of these major companies said, if I was starting a company from scratch, the first person I'd ask to be on my board would be Nelson Peltz. So, first proxy contest we have had where our candidates did not meet any non-management directors in person.
That's insane.
Not even, hey, these guys want in, maybe we should talk to them.
That would be my first question. If I was asking a question at this town hall, hey, how come you didn't talk to Nelson Peltz before? Why did we have to wait for this 133-page document to drop before we finally can hear what Nelson Peltz has to say? How come you guys haven't been talking to him?
And the only honest answer that Iger can give is because nobody knows better than we do. We're the gods of the universe, and why would we bother to talk to these peons?
Exactly. That has been their official line the whole time. Nelson Peltz and
or anybody else
nominees, they have nothing to contribute, and they say they have spoken with them. But Nelson Peltz, he has nothing new to offer. He hasn't offered anything that they hadn't already contemplated and decided not to do. So basically, their argument is that he's completely incompetent. He doesn't know anything about entertainment. They're the masters of the universe when it comes to this. No one knows better than them. And Jay Rasulo, well, his knowledge is out of date, so he knows nothing either. So it's far more better with the pharmaceutical people that they have on their board right now. Of course, the real reason is that, they're all Iger acolytes, and they let Iger do whatever the hell he wants. But can't.
And that's why, look at the fourth one. At a 45-minute meeting, not a single non-management director asked a question. Why not? Because they're scared to death. If they ask the wrong question, if they ask a question Bob won't like, they'll be kicked off the gravy train.
Yeah, they're not there to answer questions. They're there to vote as Bob Iger tells them to vote.
Exactly. Now, I want to get SG's thoughts on this real quick. But one thing I would like to ask, and Jonas, maybe you have an idea of this, Culture, maybe you do, but looking at the density of this document, and this caught everybody off guard. I think Disney was unprepared for what this is. They thought a white paper might be 10 to 20 pages. They thought it might have some sort of esoteric or vague descriptions of what to do. This is a damning document. It is 130 plus pages of densely documented data that just destroys a dismal Disney, alliteration intended. Jonas, Culture, and then I'm going to come to SG, but guys, how many people and how long did this thing take to make?
I'm going to say at least 6 months myself. Go ahead.
No, please.
I was talking with Mexican Iron Man, my brother over there. He told me
Who's
that
traveling, by the way, in the taco truck, or else he would be here.
Yeah, he told me that this thing is probably $500,000 to produce. If you want to see one that does not understand the Disney company, look over here. This is the Blackwell's one.
That's very professional.
It is also, by the way, all of this is, of course, AI, because they think AI is the solution to every single problem. Dude, you got to get some AI, dude. Obviously, AI is an important tool, but these guys really, they're one note and they just spam over and over again. It's excellent to have this non-example here right next to Peltz, because I think if you're actually reading these documents, not like the detractors online that are trying to say, oh, well, this is cumulative and it looks like it's the same amount, but it's going up every year. Well, it's not my fault you don't know how to read the word cumulative or to date. 100 pages here of just little graphs and not really much. There's actually not much commentary in this thing.
Right, because this is
a lot of it
push.
Is cribbed. A lot of this is cribbed from Nelson Peltz's notes. I'm going to go. Oh, by the way, Star Trek gets a mention in here.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. There's Star Trek. He does acknowledge there that it's Paramount, but here he wants Disney to do a 3D lightsaber spar with a Jedi on a holodeck, an innovative Star Trek concept.
Almost as if he'd actually visited the late lamented Galactic Star Cruiser, where they had lightsaber training on a holodeck.
Yeah, and also lightsaber shields for some reason on that thing, because I guess they didn't have faith that people would want to use lightsabers for real on those whatever you want to call it.
So this is sort of a joke, right?
Look at the one on the left, AI assistants navigate park visits. So in other words, you're already spending 90% of your day with your nose in your phone. Now, not only do you need GPS to find Disney World, to drive there, but once you're in the park, GPS is going to help you find the Haunted Mansion? Really?
Yeah. Or how about this one? Chat GPT with Disney characters. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't know what dum-dum thinks that adding Disney characters to artificial intelligence is a good idea.
That's right. SG, let me give you your thoughts on this. Were you expecting something like what we have seen with what Nelson Peltz has delivered, or were you expecting something a little bit more vague?
Mr. Peltz never ceases to shock me. When you meet someone who's really good at something to a level most of us will never achieve, like there's a painting of Stevie Ray Vaughan behind me. I keep that to remind myself I should probably quit playing guitar. But Nelson, so maybe Bob needs a big picture. Anyway, somewhat successful.
Lou Wasserman.
I was surprised, and my first thought was actually, why not hire him to write a script? Because he can do 130 pages of content that makes sense and not scrapbook it together. But no, I think Nelson is so good with timing and with a comprehensive look that makes it impossible to ignore him. So he's so very well.
I think we lost SG for a moment there. But let me say this. You brought up a great point. Perhaps the point of the day, which is how fascinating is it that a 133-page financial document by Nelson Peltz is more interesting than the scripts that Disney produces to make their content. How about that? Everybody we talk to says it's a barn. Yeah, you can't stop reading it.
It starts off with Once Upon a Time and it ends with Happily Ever After. If that's the formula, guys. It has been since the dawn of human creativity.
That's right.
Except at a certain place that used to be known for human creativity. But,
now, I will say they could have written this entire thing to make it just appealing to people who want to do deep dives and people who want to go through one by one. But the fact that 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 bold bullet points here, their own initiatives here broken out, by the way, more clear than even Disney does it. This is great. Oh, by the way, if you want to know what Heinz said, they said the company is at a key inflection point and we cannot afford to let the board and management be diverted from our progress. And now, 2 years later, I should say, if I were to form the board today, Nelson would be one of the first directors I'd ask to serve. Or DuPont, potential to disrupt our company at a key stage of execution against our plan. P&G, same thing, best to position to continue building a better company without adding Mr. Peltz to the board. They all are more profitable, and they all regret the decision to fight him needlessly for these things. These are better companies.
And by the way,
go ahead.
When Bob said we don't need distractions like this right now, could he have been like getting his script from all these guys before statements and ignoring the after? That's basically what they all said.
It is.
It's not a matter of like sharing the script. That's a matter of they all think the same thing. It's going into this instant defensive position because these are CEOs and boards under external pressure because they're underperforming. So then they all hide behind the same excuse because they're the same kind of basically con men that are about to get exposed. And then they do the natural thing for them, which is just to pretend, no, everything's under control. Just back up and it's going to be fine.
Monorail.
It's just a human nature thing. It's
just
like narcissism in action. There's no sharing of scripts or anything like that. It's basically just human nature talking.
And one of the best directors I ever worked with in television, when I came to him and said, this scene, you've got this problem, he smiled and said, don't just bring me the problem, offer me a solution. That's smart management. That's how you make things better. You're open to great ideas. You want people to come up with great ideas. You don't want just yes men and people who run away. But that's just not in the makeup of Mr. Iger. It just isn't.
And we must wrap it up there, put a bow on it, and send it out, folks. If you would like to put this out there as a gift to others, well, all you have to do is share it out on your favorite social media platforms. Like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, it's the notification bell, drop a comment down below, let us know your thoughts, and tell us, do you think Nelson Peltz will win this year or next year? That's really what we're counting on at this point. The chances of him not getting on the board, well, slim to none, I would say at this point. He is definitely putting himself in a position over the next years to win, if not this year. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.